right, looks like we've still got some people trickling in, but let's go ahead and get things kicked off here today as we have a lot to get through. I want to thank you guys all so much for coming and joining us here on our Getting Fans Dialed In Through Voicemail webinar. We've been having a ton of fun with these webinars over the last few weeks and months, and we hope you guys are getting as much from them as we are. I'm particularly excited to dive into our topic today. Just wanted to give you guys all a sense of what you're in for today. So we have some brilliant panelists here that I'll introduce to you in just a second. Um, I'm then going to just dive into kind of the basics of the Lalo voicemail options and some of our most creative and fun executions to date. And then we'll do a deep dive with our panelists into by far one of our most creative and elaborate voicemail campaigns we've done with the team here and the band Goose. My goal today is for you guys to take away really just one thing, is that if you're using your unique Lalo phone number just for sending texts, you're missing out on some massive and creative potential. So we'll get into how your voicemail lines can become a direct and unique connection to your fans' attention, one that you can use to help you sell out shows, to launch campaigns, and to create moments that fans will remember. So with that, I'm going to have our panelists come and say hello, introduce themselves, and say a bit more about what they do. And I will ask them each to a little curveball here with a warm-up question, and that is, if you could get a call or a voicemail from any artist in history, who would it be, and what would you want it to say? Frank, we'll start with you.
Hello, Meredith. Thanks for having us. It's great to be here. I'm Frank Rinaldi from the 11eleven group. I'm the VP of marketing. And if I was to get a voicemail or call from somebody, it would be David Byrne, because I've been waiting for that Talking Heads reunion to happen eventually. And they're one of the last ones left on the list who hasn't come back. So that would be an exciting one for me.
I love it. All right, Alice, you're up.
I'm Alice Ford. I'm the marketing manager here at 11 Group, and mine would be a very basic answer. I would love to get a call from Jerry Garcia and have him tell me that he's somehow coming back to life and gonna tour one more time with the Dead. So dream big, you know.
I think mine would be Simon and Garfunkel reuniting just to sing Bridge Over Troubled Water in my ear directly.
Nice one.
Okay, well, and then for those of you who might not know me, I'm Meredith. I am the head of live music over here at Lalo. So we will be talking about live music and recorded music. But next we are just going to kind of get into overall kind of the basics of Lalo, and then we'll come back to Frank and Alice here and talk about this campaign that we launched with them. We'll get into great detail on it here in just a couple of minutes. So with that, I'm just going to pull up a couple of slides and kind of take you through some of the basics on the what, the why, and the how. Within your Lalo account, every artist, creator, promoter, etc., is assigned a unique phone number. As I mentioned, that unique phone number does not only have to be used for outgoing SMS, you can also take that phone number and transform it into a voicemail inbox. Within that, we have several options. You can have fans call, listen to something. You can have fans call, leave you a voicemail. You can have fans call, click 1, click 2 for different options. So we have a lot of opportunities within kind of the voicemail configuration. And once you set up your unique phone number to be configured in that way, you're able to swap out your MP3 and what exists on the other side at any time through in perpetuity once you have that set up. So you can see here, we just have a really clean example of asking fans to leave a message. This immediately creates a two-way conversation via SMS with that fan. And then we can take that unique phone number and promote this campaign anywhere. So I'll show you some of my favorite ways that some of our artists have done that in the past. So you'll see here, as I mentioned, it's as simple, setting up your voicemail account is as simple as uploading an MP3. You've got a team of folks here to help you navigate it as well. But you can see some of my favorite recent ones here. I'll mention that every campaign that I'll show you today is any of the numbers that you see on the screen are available to call. You can call them and go through this experience. We'll send the deck through to all participants after, just so you don't need to go through all of them today. But I highly recommend calling the numbers numbers. Each and every one that we've depicted here today is very unique and very fun. So you'll see this billboard that the 2C team launched, I think, nearly overnight with the help of our CTO Saj. Um, you can call the number that they placed on this billboard in California for the chance to preview some new music from Tusi. Summer Walker took her phone number in a completely unique direction and actually used it as the title of her song across the DSP. So you could actually call that number and get a preview of the music itself. And then one of my favorites here, Phineas, he posted these kind of grassroots flyers saying call or text to help me find my cleats. And then when you called that number, you got a track from him as a result. We'll move on to the next one. This is by far one of my favorites. So Phoenix premiered at the Paris Olympics now a couple of years ago, a collaboration with Kavinsky and Angel, in which they took Night Call and remixed it and premiered it at the Olympics. After the Olympics, they launched this very, very cool looking billboard in which you could call that number and hear that new track in its entirety. Odessa, I think, stands out as one of our team's favorite activations to date, as it was so layered. In this case, fans were asked to call this number and to give the band a report as to what this tour and album had meant to them and the impact it had on their lives. From there, management handpicked the voicemails and actually took the content, the text of those voicemails of the fans' key moments and memories and made it part of an immersive, interactive installation at their last show at the Gorge on that run. So incredibly special, incredibly interactive, got just a suite of press across Billboard and other things, but a pretty magical way for fans to feel really connected and involved to a tour. I keep saying that these are my favorite, and it's just because they all are, and that's why I picked them. We picked them. So this is just another way, a really creative way, I think, to think about touring and live music and leveraging that voicemail as a milestone moment. So in this case, we had Lake Street Dive, which they always, I think, really think outside of the box when it comes to marketing. In this case, they were playing their first headline show, their biggest show to date at Madison Square Garden, and they papered New York with just some cheeky little flyers, call to complain, call to get an attorney. There were a lot of different options there, but you would call the number and it would give you instructions as to how to get tickets to the show and then how to actually get to the show, directions and beyond. Absolutely hilarious and just so well done. And as someone that used to have to hang flyers all over Columbus, Ohio when I worked at a promoter, that one holds a special place in my heart. And next here, I'm gonna share a really kind of like very elusive, mysterious example. Empire of the Sun took their unique phone number and leveraged Instagram Reels and posted kind of like a spooky, eerie, elusive way to connect with the number there. You called the number, and then that launched you on a similarly ethereal journey with the band in which you were able to hear some new tracks and get ahead of the album release. Leah Kate, do I want to say it's my favorite again? This is definitely by far like one of the most just hilarious voicemail campaigns we've done, and the team got a kick out of it. Ahead of her kind of revenge breakup album, Leah Kate launched her phone number with the instruction to all of her fans to call and leave a voicemail for her ex, Chad. So I recommend you guys do this one, but you would call Chad. Chad's voicemail would pick up, and fans were delivering him their sentiments about how they felt about Chad. And that was really the launching point. I believe Chad was actually a member of our team, but that was actually the launching point for her breakup album. So really, really kind of creative, fun way to think about that one. And Ian Asher has recently used our tiered voicemail system in which you can have fans call and have a different audio experience based on what number they press. In this case, if you pressed 1 when you called his line, you got an upcoming track. If you pressed 2, you got a different track. And he also used his phone number here as the title of a song. So if you called that song directly from Spotify or any of the other DSPs, you were also able to get access to hear that third track. And now we get into my actual favorite, voicemail execution, and we will come back to our panelists here and get into Goose and our very fun case study that we'll talk through here today. So welcome back, Alice and Frank. Thanks for just letting me speed through kind of those examples here. Obviously, if you guys have any questions about those examples that I showed or what we're about to talk about, we'll run a Q&A at the end and we'll be able to address any questions that you might have. So with that, welcome back again, Frank and Alice. I've told you guys this to your face before, but I'll tell the group as well. You guys are just by far one of our like just absolutely dream teams to work with. You're constantly just taking a look at Lalo and saying like, how can this work for me in a way that no one else has done? What can we use in terms of our tool set here to engage? And you've just been absolutely like really creative, wonderful, interactive partners. So we're so lucky to have you here to get to work with Goose and across, a vast majority of your roster. So I'd love to just first hear from you just kind of more broadly. How do you think about reaching your artist fan bases, whether Goose or other artists on your roster, through drops? Like, how are you thinking about incorporating Lalo into that process?
Well, thanks again. And those examples, by the way, were great to run through. Also brought back a lot of ideas that we had kind of kicked around. I particularly love the Lake Street Dive one around
Yeah,
New York.
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. We've used drops for several different initiatives here in the early stages of working with Lalo. I think our first one really was to build up our list and our SMS subscribers. And so we kind of our initial was a kind of a mysterious artwork teaser for ultimately was a live vinyl drop, and our fans really connected to it pretty quickly. Everyone signed up, and we were off and running. So that was our first initiative and campaign with Lalo. Since then, we've done a Secret Troubadour show in LA, which was 100% driven off of a Lalo drop. We did a contest for a radio play that we had in New York with WFUV. That was a contest where we only had a limited amount of tickets for that one. It's right before our Madison Square Garden show. Another one that really generated some quick buzz. And with each of these, we've really built up the subscriber list. I mean, Goose has always been, we have a very loyal fan base, and we've always had a really strong email list and great analytics around our email list. But we've been really happy with how quickly we've been able to grow our SMS list and subsequently then move towards the voicemail campaign.
Yeah, I mean, if I could ask you to elaborate on that for just a moment. As you mentioned, like Goose has an incredibly loyal, dare I say, rabid fan base that does tend to latch on to anything that the band puts into the world. Why was it important to you to think kind of outside of email and into SMS and voicemail?
We think that it was something that the band would really connect to. I mean, as far as the voicemail genesis of like where we started really thinking, I used to, as a Jam fan in the 90s, used to call into these 1-900 numbers that had set lists or tour information. Even going back to Alice mentioned the Grateful Dead earlier. I mean, they were trailblazers with having the hotlines where you before the internet you would be able to call and get all the information directly from the artist, and that's something that's always stuck with me. And in the age of the internet and the all the technological advancements that we've had, I still love that like true analog aspect to it, and the excitement that I used to get when I would call to find out like, hey, are they coming to my town, or what's the tour going to look like, or whatever information, and then fans from there started their own hotlines, and that's where we would get information about set lists and other things on tour. And so we were talking about that at a holiday party last year. It was funny, actually. Alice gave the owner of our company, Ben, a old comic book from a Grateful Dead comic as our White Elephant gift, and he saw this like ad for a 1-900 number in there, and I started going off about how that was such a thing back then, and we said we should be thinking about this for one of our artists, and obviously Goose being the one that would have the most perfect fit, and we were off and running from there, and ultimately we came to you guys and said, is there a way we can do this? And you said, well, yes, we've got the voicemail hotline. So here we go. Alice, do you have anything else there to add?
No, just the one other thing I wanted to add from our Racket New York campaign, that like pop-up show we did. We had a very limited number of tickets to, choose from, and we ended up using the like Laylo randomizer to pick the contestants for that specific show that had signed up for the Racket NYC drop, which was really cool. And obviously they were surprised, and the whole process happened over Laylo, which was great.
I love that you guys just lean into every tool that we roll out immediately. It's incredible.
That one really
Um,
came in handy really quickly, because we were like, how are we going to draw out of all these entries? And instead of having to find the randomizer on the internet, you had it for us, which was great.
I think that's like another one that our CTO built essentially overnight, if I recall correctly. That's awesome. I think like, Frank, you guys both really just kind of talking about the nostalgia of the 90s. Like I think jam bands have largely been the pioneers of building community in really like unique yet authentic ways that fans feel seen, and they feel like there's a personal experience, whether you are connecting to thousands at once or you are kind of connecting in ways that are really unique. And I think seeing you guys take that to new heightened levels using different types of technology has just been really special. Um, so yeah, with that, I think let's just dive into kind of the case study here in the Viva El Gonzo Festival. I think these artist destination festivals in the last couple of years, whether they're resort festivals or cruise getaways, we're starting to kind of see more of these pop up, and they can kind of take all different shapes and sizes. So I'd love to hear just initially like how you guys thought about doing a destination festival for Goose and how that idea came to life.
Yeah, the our team really came up with the concept with the band that we were going to do something a little bit different, that wasn't the destination event that was an international destination event that was going to go to an all-inclusive resort. While those are amazing, and I've been to many of them, we wanted to try something a little bit different and really connect culturally to the community in San Jose del Cabo down in Mexico, because it is such a culturally rich community. There's um, just a really amazing vibe of art and culture and food, amazing restaurants down there. So I think the band really and our team really wanted it to be something that was going to be a choose your own adventure for the fans, a true like festival experience that would be inclusive of the culture and community of the San Jose del Cabo area. And so um, the team really came up with or found this amazing site that was adjacent to the El Gonzo Hotel down there, and it had 3 stages and all unique art installations. We have to give a tremendous amount of credit to our creative team, our creative director Will Thresher, who has been just such a important person to like developing these ideas that the band brings him and helping all of us execute them in the most creative ways. And he deserves so much of the credit that Viva El Gonzo has become. Um, so yeah, you could do everything from stay at a 5-star hotel down there to camping, glamping. A lot of fans do the hotel packages, but some will also do Airbnbs or VRBOs or um, their own plans. We had a lot of fans who came in from expats who live down there. The local community turned out. We were really excited to see that. So yeah, it was just a different kind of festival. It is a different kind of festival, a destination event than some of the other ones that we had all experienced.
Amazing, amazing. Well, then let's kind of get into how you guys thought about, obviously you put a lot of thought and detail into what is the event going to look like? How are we going to differentiate against these other destination festivals out there? When you start to think about, okay, we've got the creative vision for it. Next, we're moving into how are we going to roll this out? How are we going to get fans invested and engaged and ready to kind of buy those flights and have this like completely unique experience with the artist. So I'd love to just hear about how you guys thought about the campaign rollout when you're thinking about announce to on sale. And then next we'll get into kind of everything that happened on site as well.
Yeah. So for our first initial round of announce, we essentially, this is a choose your own festival. It's called Viva El Gonzo, and in that spirit, it's kind of a Hunter S. Thompson Gonzo style journalism for our language and what we use throughout the whole process. And the first thing we did was just like a teaser video of the band driving in a convertible in Mexico, with that narrator voice in the background, that like, Hunter S. Thompson-esque vibe. And, we kept it a mystery essentially and had everyone sign up via Laylo for the drop there, and just kind of kept it really cryptic. And I believe it was October of last year when we dropped the name of the festival, the dates, the location, everything there. And we had people sign up directly from Laylo, which was great. And we essentially wanted to use Laylo at the festival as well, not just for the announce, but just, we had so many different activations within the festival. Like with the band, we had, you could go for a run with Peter, you could meditate with the band, you could, do yoga with someone from the Cabo community. Like there was just so much going on that we wanted, another way for fans to connect with the band, just through Laylo somehow. And again, Will Thresher, we owe a lot to his creativity here, but he and the band came up with this idea. It's an international festival. They thought, well, maybe we should have fans get this passport, and we essentially, had these passports created and built this whole world around the passport itself. And we use Laylo to have fans find the passport, and B, do a whole scavenger hunt using the passport, and then C, we also incorporated voicemail and had the band have a different voice message each day. So that was, our other way that we incorporated Laylo in the process.
Yeah, do you think you could just talk about the voicemail rollout a little more in detail? Like I think that you guys did in total, if I did my calculations correctly, something like 10 unique voicemails over the period of a week in which you had different members of the band providing different clues and different props to fans. So I would love to just like hear how you thought about that, how you thought about getting the artists like involved in kind of doing this thing. Um, and just any of the fan reactions like on site would be great. And tell us more about the woman in red.
Of course. So essentially, day zero, we started with our SMS messaging to fans that had signed up to be a part of the passport process within like the Gonzo drop. And we had a great turnout for it from the get-go. Essentially, the prompt was, we have the band has passports for you that we want you to find. Here, go to X location, find the woman in red with the red suitcase, and you'll be on your way to start the journey. And this is all in, that gonzo style journalism type
Yeah.
voice. And so fans found red, they picked up their passports, and the journey started from there, where every day we would be sending, I think like up to 7 prompts for people to fill out their passport. And, I can give an example of one of the prompts from day 2.
Yes, please do.
Um, it was cool because we were able to schedule out these prompts, to go with the festival. So during set break on day 2, we had a prompt, this 10:30 p.m. The air is humming weird again. Something is shifted. Call our Goose number and press your ear to the static. There's a new voice on the wire. Red already heard it. Now it's your turn. And this is the voicemail was from Trevor, the Goose bassist, he reads poems at our shows all the time. It's kind of his like signature thing. So it was cool to incorporate that into this whole process. And Trevor said, "You saw it last night, the tall one made of bones, reaching up like it could catch thunder. It's buried in the heart. Go there before it's set to." It's a big statue with the heart. "Stand beneath it, find red and whisper, I'm ready to forget." And so we had Red waiting at the statue during set break, and everyone came running to Red to, get their passport stamped by her. And then each day, there were different writing prompts you can kind of see in this photo here. Some of them you were meant to tear out and put in the suitcase. Some of them you kept to themselves. But, every day was something different. Every day would be a different voicemail from a different band member. Which was super cool, and they loved getting involved and being in this process. It was amazing. It was super fun to be a part of, honestly.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it
it
was really
sounds
developing. Sorry, it was really developing like the mythology, which is what a lot of their lyrics and songs that have kind of in this stage of their career have really started to connect the fans to is these characters that are in their story or in their songs. And I think that was a big thing that they really wanted to incorporate into the mythology of the Viva El Gonzo experience. And having this was such an important tool to that. And Red was such an amazing character. She was like someone that could be like completely anonymous on site, but also completely obvious, like if you were really looking for her. So it was really fun. Alice is right. It was really exciting and fun to kind of build this whole story out.
Yeah, I mean, just personally, it sounds like a dream trip for me as someone that loves puzzles and scavenger hunts. I can't imagine getting to go to a festival, one of my favorite bands, and also get to participate in something like this. And it sounds like also just based on some feedback that you guys gave me, you had fans really committed to see this through to the end, throughout the entirety of the process, which is amazing. Okay, great. So I mean, I kind of want to talk about, we've touched on this a little bit, but I think like what you've depicted here in terms of this destination festival, in terms of like kind of starting the journey by growing SMS and then turning this into a world, right? Like you've taken a band and not presented them like a brand. Like it is really something that is authentic to who they are, how each individual member participates in connecting with their fans, not just the band as an entity. And everything that you do is really specific to who the band is, how they represent themselves, shows musically, sonically, etc. But I think what you guys excel at so much is kind of the momentum around world building and creating the community around not only Goose, but really every artist on your roster. So I'd love to just hear a little bit how you think about that unique approach to marketing instead of just kind of the traditional, we're going to roll out a festival, we hope people buy tickets to it, we're going to roll out music in a kind of more traditional format. I think I would love to just hear from you guys about how you think about crafting kind of a universe around these artists in a way that I would just assume really builds like lifetime loyalty and commitment and investment from a fan to an artist, across not just one event, but a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it really goes back to just my lifetime of seeing music and feeling connected to the communities around the artists that I love. Um, and one of the things that we've been so fortunate with working with Goose has been that they've really um, continued that into this era that we're in, and this generation that they are leading in their genre and their space. Their fans have been incredibly connected to the Goose community, to each other, and whatever we can do to help facilitate that helps continue to grow and guide this thing, less from like just like you said, from feeling like it's a brand to more of a true community aspect, um and the love of the shows and the gathering and the ages that we see as well. I mean, our demographic kind of runs the gamut. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of folks who are, second or third generation deadheads to young college kids who are really
Totally.
trying to find a band to connect to and travel with, and we play different shows every night. The band is embrace that aspect of it, and for me it's really a full circle of what I experienced as a much younger person who was a fan first. And so it's
Yeah.
been really great. And with Lalo, it's just been nice to have these, to have these tools and a team like you, your team, Mayor, that has helped us find our way when we're looking to like execute these kind of things. And I have to give a big credit to our guy Thatch, who ironically
Yes.
enough has the same name as one of Goose's main songs.
Well, we're gonna
We
say
knew we found the right
they
guy.
wrote it for
Yeah.
him. But yes, big credit to Thatch on our team, the master of all things Lalo. And if you're a creative team like this and you have an idea, Thatch will help you figure out how to do it.
He has been
Every time.
integral. Yes. So yeah, Alice probably has more to say than I do on this too. So I'll let her take it from here.
I
Mhm.
mean, I think that we're lucky enough to work with bands that care enough to build the world as well. And they're just as, they have just as much input as we do with this. And they've just kind of taken the creativity like up a notch. And we are, again, as Frank said, we're like lucky enough to have the tools to be able to do so and find new touch points that, maybe they didn't have a year ago.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, this has all happened within the last year or so, and it's just taken off. And yeah, we can't wait to see what more we can do with it.
Yeah, incredible trajectory. And yeah, like thank you guys so much for speaking on it. I think the way that you guys approach marketing reminds me of like why I do this, right? It is really about connection and providing fans experiences that they remember for their whole lives. And they'll talk about Viva El Gonzo every year that they go, but they'll talk about it for the rest of their lives because you've provided something they can't experience anywhere else. So it's such a good reminder of like why we're in this business, why we do this is like it's about connection. And you guys are fostering that with technology, but through all of these like really personal touch points as well. So, um, with that, I'm going to kind of just ask you guys to give me like your opinion as we've seen you guys leverage again like every ounce of Lalo's capabilities and really learn that to build these communities and to build these fan bases and to drive ticket sales and revenue. Like what do you guys kind of think is the next phase of fan building and community throughout like the music industry? That's just a light easy question. And what do
Well,
you think is next? What do you think's next on the horizon?
well, for us, we have Viva El Gonzo is coming back next year, so we're really excited for that. Goose has an event called Goosemas, that is their um, holiday time event that they started as just a party in bars of Connecticut and has grown into a full arena production now. And so for us, like having those kind of events is like really exciting to be able to bring it to the rest of our team and say, how can we utilize our tools to bring these events to life and make the fans more excited about them, um, and create those touch points that really matter, that are not as sales oriented, they're more community building oriented. So I think that's it. Just to answer your question, to me, I think the the future is to continue for any artist on our roster. I think we always are thinking about continuing to build the community of fans around um, their their music. I hate to use the word their brand, but their ethos, their whole vibe. And so I think that's how we're going to continue to move forward in the industry with artists, is really thinking about how you make memories and build community with your fans through music.
I think specifically too next year, now that we've had like a round of this Gonzo part one, part two, I want to, integrate the band even more and maybe do like a secret set that only we know about through voicemail or, in-person activities. This one was more of a, it was a journey for fans to be just a part of the experience and, a way for
Yeah.
the band to interact with the fans. And now I think we can take it to the next level, knowing like how engaged our fan base was throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly elevating the Gonzo voicemail uh, on-site journey will be something that's high on our priorities for next year. I mean, one thing that we didn't mention, I know that we talked about a little bit prior, was that one of the things we were hoping was not going to bring like a hiccup in the whole process was the international
International
aspects
component.
to it.
Yeah.
And so we again, with the help of Thatch and your team, helped us navigate through to make sure that our fans would get the messages and they would be able to call in everything internationally. I think because comms are a little bit different than they were even 5 or 10 years ago from an international standpoint, it made it a lot easier. But those unknowns were some of the things that we had to work through with this process. And now that we've done it, we know that we can take it to the next level, and the band trusts the fact that we can take it to the next level. And I'm hopeful, and I know they'll be totally in for developing this further next year.
Awesome. I love that. Well, if you guys need a volunteer for like a woman in black, I'm available. No.
Nice.
Okay, with that, we're gonna hand it over to the Q&A. So I know we've got a couple of questions cooking, but if you guys have any questions broadly about the Laylo voicemail functionality, if you have questions for Frank or Alice about any of these specifics, feel free to put them in the chat or in the Q&A. We'll dive into them there. And I also just wanted to let you guys know, as a thank you for those of you that joined our webinar today, we will be following up with you guys with a special offer. So you'll get $100 off of your next voicemail campaign, along with 5,000 messaging credits. So we've got a slide that will tell you can just go ahead and email contact@Laylo. Otherwise, we'll send you guys info out after this webinar, but just a special little treat from us to say thanks. And with that, let's see kind of what questions that we've got. Don't be shy. Great. We've got a bunch of shout outs for Thatch, which I appreciate. He
Nice.
deserves all the credit in the world. Um, okay, so let's take this question from Andrew. Frank and Alice, what tools do you use to manage Goose's fan community, and how does Laylo integrate with them? Do you use a CRM?
Um, Not a traditional CRM.
Laylo is your CRM, I
Yeah,
would
with pretty much is our CRM. We
Yeah.
have migrated, I'll say this, we've migrated away from MailChimp over to Laylo's email functionality, which we've been happy with. And that was a big step for us. And we do use a lot of other tools. I mean, big shout out to Seated, who's been a massive partner for us all along, in addition to a lot of the other traditional tools that I'm sure a lot of the marketers on here are using, the bands and towns, and so on and so forth. Alice, is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, I think Laylo's our number one, uh, to be honest.
Nice. Another question from Anonymous, does Lalo integrate with Notion? No direct integrations on that front right now, but would be curious to know if you want to email us how what you would use that for. Um, Drew York, one of my favorite fans to demo because he has really good stats in the back end. Drew asks, how deep can you go with numbered options? Like press one for this, and once you're there, you can have people press other stuff. Yeah, so essentially, I believe we can have up to 4 options. You can press 1 through 4 and apply different voicemails to that. I'll verify that for you, and we'll make sure to send it in the notes. But yes, with a bilingual artist, um, you can absolutely have different options, like your traditional press 1 for English, press 2 for French, press 3 for whatever else you'd like. So absolutely, that's well within the capabilities of the voicemail functionality.
I was going to mention that too, like the traditional phone tree. I think that was one of the things that I was kind of excited about initially, and we wanted to take like one step at a time with our initial plan. But some thank you, Drew, for reminding me that that is something that I would like to develop for next year to kind of take the fans even deeper into the journey of having options in like a traditional phone tree from again dating myself back to the 90s.
I'm with you, Frank. I'm with you. I'm right Um, uh, I'm gonna hit this one for fans who call the voicemail number. This is a great question. Do we need to legalize? Do we need any legalese to collect and use their contact info in the future? How would we go about that? Awesome question. That is an inherent part of the process. So once a fan takes the action to call the number, they will immediately be hit back with a text that contains all of the compliance and legal language necessary to opt them into your SMS list moving forward. So it's an automated and inherent part of the voicemail process. So once they call the number, you will have their SMS number as part of your direct and owned list as well. Okay, I think a couple of other of these, like we can probably address, maybe not super relevant to the voicemail aspect of it. So if you guys have any other questions, throw them in now. Otherwise, we will send you all the deck and the notes after this, along with your little credit options here. And again, you can always hit contact at lalo.com or Meredith at lalo.com if you have any questions. A big thank you to Alice and Frank for joining us today and taking us through this like truly remarkable campaign and like your overall approach to Lalo and world building with your artist. We're truly just lucky to have you guys as partners, and thank you so much for participating here today. And we will, I've got a couple other questions. I'll send some follow-ups when we send the notes there, but we'll wrap it here at 45 minutes. And thank you to all of our attendees again. We really appreciate you participating and being interested in everything that we have to offer. So we hope to see some more voicemail campaigns out in the wild, and we hope you're leaving this feeling inspired. So have a great Tuesday, everybody, and we will see you at the next one.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.